In 2016, I think big data is going to move from just storing it and writing code about it to actual pattern seeking. Now big data can actually be organized in such a way to find what is the successes that make something happen. Because I think for too long we've been talking about the tech and talking about the programming of it. We've never been able to visualize and tell stories with it and actually see the patterns. This will be the year that the patterns unravel. One struggle for most banks and financial institutions, including insurance, is they've spent the last almost 2 decades pouring millions and millions of dollars into building beautiful little containers of data that are organized just right, it's static. Now, where everything being a mashup, they don't know what to do. I mean, how do they fuse social information, consumer information together with static or organized chaos, if you will? And it's been very scary for them. The other thing too is some people don't want to know the future. So when you look at big data, it's a scary concept. Are you ready to embrace the change? Or are you too scared to embrace the change? Privacy was always a big issue. That was always a concern. Being creepy toward the consumers, knowing insights, but not sharing them until at the moment of talking to how did you find this out? Stalking them. And then of course regulation was always a concern. But I think that in 2016, especially when millennials now coming into the workforce, they want to know what you know. They want to see data mirrors. And I think that's going to change everything in 2016. Strategies have never been focused on creating revenue. Revenue has never been really a mandate of big data. It's mostly about, let's talk about technology and program some things. I don't think there's ever been, in 90 days, whatever you do in big data should pay for itself and create you profit. And that's why I think a lot of strategies are talked about and they're listened to but never executed, because no one goes to a customer and says, you need to do this, and this little thing that you do, or big thing, it should only take 90 days to do. It should pay for itself and should make you 15% profit. Anything you want to do in big data should be done in 90 days. There's this huge fallacy, 18 months, 24 months to make everything perfect. And data should be perfect, by the way. That's one of the other fallacies that people put out there. Data is never perfect because humans are never perfect. And actually, the most imperfect data shows you where processes fall apart. What is the perfect team, consulting team, to do a big data project? You go to a school of art and design, you pick a student out, or maybe a digital animator. You pair them up with someone who's a burnout from the banking industry around statistics or underwriting or actuarials make perfect candidates. Make the actuary or the underwriter, let's call them in quotation marks, data scientists. They're actually going to be looking at analytical models, going through the data to find patterns. And some of these models, if you go and talk to the data scientist or whoever the person you hired in, they're going to talk a totally different language you will not even understand. You bring in that School of Art and Design student whose number one job is to translate abstracts into something that is an infographic, a cartoon, art. They can digitally turn that very complex model into a touchable image that tells a story. You definitely need a data architect. The data architect will decide, where do we store this data? Cloud, on-premise, what can we use that we don't have to buy again? Last person, data cruncher. And I do not mean just a ETL programmer or someone that's just trying to write code. Usually they come from game divisions, coders that create video games. And the reason being is a video gamer who's creating not the animation piece, but just trying to write the code, they will look at the hardware and see the performance of the hardware and bring data together to make things work. They do it in a very messy style, but you don't care as long as it's getting optimal performance. You need a data cruncher to be able to say, you know what, I want all feeds mashed together to be able to see it. That data cruncher feeds the analytics, the data scientist, creates models, then basically you have your architect try to arrange what's the best way to put this out, then you have your storyteller that projects it on a screen and everyone gets the story. All the big data teams that I've ever worked with or have built myself and work with, we basically on Monday, we get 4 business problems from a customer. We basically have 4 days to come up with a prototype, 4 days to come up with a prototype around those problems that can be solved. And on the 5th day, we have a voice competition or America's Got Talent competition. Each person has built a prototype, which may not be functional, it may be broken in pieces, but it's been built very, very quickly. They have 5 minutes to show how it works, how it will generate revenue, and how we can customize it and make it better. On that Friday, we choose which one is the best one to go with for that problem, and then we spend a month fixing it. Now, at the end of that month, doesn't work. We show it to the customer, not interested. Okay, no problem. Delete. Here's the business problem. Let's start again.